Hi everybody, welcome. I'm going to give you 10 reasons why you should almost always go on a second date. So, if you're in the dating scene, you know that you go on a first date, maybe things don't really start, maybe it's a bit flat, and you're wondering at the end of the date whether you should ask to go on a second date. Well, in my opinion, unless the date has been a complete disaster and you think the person is ridiculously weird and you never want to see them again, then you really should almost always ask for that second date. And I'm going to give you 10 reasons why you should. Reason number 1. Nobody is themselves on a first date. It doesn't matter how hard you try to be yourself, you will always be what you think you should be. You try to be somebody that you think is more attractive. You try to be more interesting, and a lot of the times you just come across as maybe boring or something like that. And I can tell you that your date will probably do exactly the same thing. So like I say, unless somebody's coming across really weird, then it's likely that they're just nervous, they're not really being themselves. So you need to go on the second date to actually find out about this person. Reason number 2, you can ask better questions on the second date. You've got an idea of what the person does for a living, you've got an idea of their interests from the first date, so you can think of better questions for the second time round. Also, hopefully on the first date we've got rid of all the obvious questions like, do you want children, or are you looking for a long-term relationship and things like that. Well, everybody asks those questions, and most of the time, unless the answers are completely incompatible with what you want, then what have you actually learned? It's useful information perhaps, but it's not the kind of questions where you can make any kind of decision whether you should keep with this person for a second date or not. Reason number 3, you can really get to know somebody on the second date. Leading on from point number 1, where nobody's themselves on the first date. On the second date, you can go a bit deeper. For example, you may have worked out from the first date, or may have realised from the first date that this person likes theatre. But what kind of theatre? Do they like going to drama? Do they like musicals? Do they like going to anything on at the stage at all, or like comedy or that kind of thing? Or you found out that they play a certain sport, but what level do they play at? Is it a really good level actually? Is it somebody who's really passionate about their sport, or just plays it for something to do on a Saturday afternoon? Reason number 4, it's a really good habit to get into. Not to put a too fine a point on it, but giving up after the first date, it's something which people do who are maybe a bit insecure about themselves or feel insecure about themselves, and people who aren't very good at finishing things. So going on a second date, taking yourself to that next step, it's a really good habit to get into, not just in dating but with lots of things. People say they'll try anything once. Well, will they try pretty much anything twice? Because once isn't always enough to work out whether you like it or even hate it. Reason number 5, body language. If you are somebody who goes on first dates but not many second dates, you might turn up and through your body language not realise that you're saying, I usually have one date, and if you don't impress me right now, that it's never going to work out. But it's exactly the kind of thing which can be picked up on subconsciously. If you go on more second dates, even if you don't often go on a third date, it means that on that first date you're not giving off the wrong vibes. Reason number 6, you will learn more about yourself. So, as I said previously, in first dates you tend to get asked pretty much the same questions, what is your career, But on a second date, you'll be asked hopefully better questions. Where you can ask better questions, you will also be asked better questions. So you might find out more about yourself. When you learn more about yourself, that means that you might be a more desirable partner because you are more aware of who you are. Reason number 7, you get to know the kind of person you want. So people often say that they don't really know what they're looking for in a partner, and if they only really go on first dates rather than second dates, it's the kind of thing which means that they can't really make up their mind because they don't give anybody a chance, and they don't actually work out what they're looking for. But if you're going on second dates, then you get more information, you actually know the kind of things you like about a person, what you're looking for in a partner. And of course that may not help on that particular second date, but it will probably help in future second dates when you are actually thinking about a third, fourth, fifth date and into the future. Reason number 8. On a second date, you can double date. Something which on a first date is very unusual, if really frowned upon, is double dating, where you bring a friend and their date to eat in the restaurant at the same time, right next door to each other, or go and have a drink together, or whatever you're going to do. And another reason why people double date is that the two people who are friends can compare notes about their opposite partners and get that second opinion, which is always useful. But if you're not going to get past that first date stage, which would generally be just you and the person that you're going on a date with, then you're never going to have that opportunity to go on the double date. Reason number 9 is that it shows some commitment. Perhaps on your first date the person wasn't too sure about you, perhaps they weren't sure that you were going to commit to any relationships. Well, if you're the person which asked for the second date, then it's showing commitment, that you're at least showing that you're not going to make snap decisions, that you're not going to walk out the door immediately. So it's a great way of showing potential commitment in the future. And finally, reason number 10, it has so much anticipation and hope in a second date. You know, a first date is often a bit nervy, a bit anxious. People don't really expect much from a first date. But a second date, you know, if you kind of like the person or they like you, it just has that bit more anticipation, a bit more hope that something good is going to grow out of this situation. So that's 10 reasons why you should almost always go on a second date. If you like the video, please do give it a thumbs up. Why not subscribe to my channel? You can do it just about here. I will be doing videos like this every single week. Or perhaps you do want to watch another video like this right away, in which case click here. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.